But he is just completely, what a mess
Well,
that
yeah,
has turned into.
yeah,
And I grew up, like, for me, my biggest influences growing up was Eddie Murphy
mm-hmm.
and Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And of course, I love Richard Pryor, and I George Carlin I love, and Sam Kinison.
Yeah, Robin Williams.
But to me, Cosby was the first. The reason why Cosby was, I could listen to him with my dad.
Yeah, and he was funny.
He was funny and clean.
Yeah.
Murphy couldn't do that.
Right.
But what is it? 24, 25 women now.
That's a lot.
Yeah, like.
You kind of have to lend a little credence to the whole story.
What a mess!
When there's that many.
When I just can't see that. How do you come out with that 30 or 40 years later saying, "Yeah, he drugged me and had sex with me"? That is just insane.
Yeah. Well, and I don't like to say one way or another, judge or whatever.
I do. I judge.
Judge the shit out of him. Just go, yeah, you're guilty.
You're guilty.
No trial.
You're a perv, man.
Nothing.
Well, it just shows you you're not going to get away with shit.
Right.
It just shows you, like, there's some cosmic karma will fuck you in the ass if you're going to be stupid.
Well, and imagine if he didn't do it.
If he didn't do it, then
he's still screwed.
Well, his career's like really taken quite the. Eddie Murphy, did you see the 40th anniversary show?
Yeah, I guess they wanted him to do a bit about,
which I thought was cool because he's
Cosby.
like, I don't want to do kicking a guy while he's down, which is really cool. And
yeah. Because he's not shy about making fun of him. If you ever saw his, was it Delirious, where he said, "Tell Bill to have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up."
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's just, I love about Murphy too. He paid off. I'm pretty sure this is true. He paid off. You talk about shows. These are the shows I've been watching. I've been watching shows. Sanford and Son.
Awesome.
Right? I've been watching...
Dummy.
Yeah. I'll give you 5 of these and 10 of these. To me, I grew up watching those shows, All in the Family, and I watch those because the other shows just don't... I could care less. I don't know if you call it a comfort thing. Yeah. The stories aren't the greatest, but...
It is. It's comfortable. It's like comfort food almost.
Yeah, exactly. And I could sit there and just laugh at like the other day, there was an episode that Sanford and Son... Lamont went and bought 2 coffins, and he brings them in the house, and poor Red, he's like, we can't have that in there, and it just shows superstition, and he ends up sleeping in the truck, and then the son can't sleep in the house with the coffins, and it was just to me it was just a good story, and it's just, to me, that was a show, and I could watch that with my kids.
Right.
And what's weird, because Vanessa, like, I'll watch the Stooges.
Yeah.
And it's just, my child sits there and goes, Dad, can you, like, where do they live? And I'm like, oh, sweetie, they're gone.
Anybody, basically who's black and white is pretty well.
Yeah, black and white, you're gone by now. I mean, there's not.
And there's a few.
There's only, I think, maybe a handful left that are in the movies that maybe but I wouldn't know any, because for me all the Stooges are gone, and I remember when I was a kid I was so sad to find out that they're gone.
Yeah.
I was like, no way, these guys are great, and then somebody told me, they died like 20 years ago. Like they died in 1977. The Mo and Larry both passed away in 1977. I'm pretty sure it was 77 or 76.
Probably getting whacked on the head so many times didn't help.
Well, it was the stories, like the stories were hilarious. Where I think they would say Larry had calluses on the side of his face from Mo smacking the shit out of him.
Really? Is this true?
Yeah, that's what they said. They said that Larry was a womanizer.
With the hair.
The hair. He used to get poontang all the time.
No shit.
So he used to go from town to town. And now, these days, there's a cell phone everywhere. I mean, there's no... Yeah. So back then, this is what he had to do. He would have to... Because he was caught cheating. So his wife made him do this, where wherever hotel he was staying in the country, he would have to call at 9 or 10 o'clock at a certain time.
Right.
And then she would say it. And then he would have to yell out, I'm I'm sleeping with a dirty whore. Like that. Like he'd
Okay.
say something like that.
Yeah.
I'm in bed with a dirty whore.
Not
So
entirely foolproof,
yeah,
but still.
but it would embarrass either if he was with a girl, she would just,
Yeah.
So that's
She'd have to be a dirty whore to be all right with it.
right. So it was stuff like that he had to do, and Joe Besser had it in his contract when Shemp and Curly passed away. Joe Besser took over, and he had it in his contract. He was really worried that Mo was gonna hurt him because he watched the Stooges, and he's like, "Holy shit!" Like these guys take a wallop.
The reason it looks so real is because it's real.
So he couldn't. He's the guy that goes, "Yeah, cut it out." That one, the Joe. But see, for me, it bothered me that Shemp. I mean, when Curly died, it bothered me. Then I found out Shemp took over, but Shemp was the original. Shemp is the older. He was the original.
Right.
Shemp never liked the Stooges manager. I forget the guy's name, but Shemp never liked him, so he left. They brought in Curly, and Curly's real name's Jerome. They brought him in, and
wasn't Shemp Mo's brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shemp, and Curly were Mo's. He was just a friend at a vaudeville show. Yeah. Larry used to play the fiddle.
Yeah.
And
Larry was the best looking Stooge, got the most poon.
No, he was the ugliest one, but he got I guess he was a womanizer and a degenerate gambler.
Okay.
So he used to gamble all the time, and Mo would sit there and there was one story where in front of everybody, Larry's like, "Hey, can I borrow $500 or something?" And Mo whips out his dick. And he goes, "Well, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And Mo's like, "Hey, you remember this? Because every time I ask you about the money, you always forget. So I'm going to lend you the money, and then when you're going to remember my dick, and then you're going to go, oh yeah, I owe you money because you showed me your dick." Because he'd always forget. He'd go, "I don't owe you that."
It's a memory strategy.
Yeah.